million are on food stamps. And these are real people with real bills to pay, real mortgages. They have health care bills. They have college tuition payments coming due. Still, this president and his enablers in Congress refuse to admit that they were wrong. They refuse to change course. So the little guy gets to pay the price for their arrogance and that lack of any business sense in the White House and in Congress. I wish there was a prerequisite for folks running for office that you had to run a business, or you had to have at least worked in the private sector and know how to make a payroll and know how to balance a budget. Can you imagine if you guys ran your household budgets or your small business the way that they run it in Congress? No, I wish that was, people say that my resume isn't fat enough to have done whatever it is that some elites think that I could have done. Well, at least I have some common sense. At least running small businesses. Build a foundation of how it could and should work. It's just common sense. In California, doggone it too, folks, California, unfortunately, for this most beautiful state where you guys should be yelling Eureka all the time because of the resources that you have here, the natural resources, the beauty that is California, the artistry that is here, the epic landscape, the ingenuity, the technology that is here. You guys should be left and right knowing that you're just thriving and prospering, and yet California isn't. In California, unemployment rate is 12.3%. It's worse than what that national average is. 20 of California's counties have 15% unemployment or more. In fact, the only state in the country that's lost more jobs than California in the last 5 years is Nevada. Prince Harry, he strikes again. And isn't it ironic? We talk a lot about the Obama-Pelosi-Reid agenda. Obama-Pelosi, Reid, California, Nevada, the two states hurting the most, and they've got the leaders there in Congress making the decisions. So here's the challenge that you face. California's got it tough. To bring back workers who've lost their jobs, that's one great challenge, but also to employ all the new workers that are coming along. California would need to create more than 4 million jobs over the next 10 years to keep up. Does anyone seriously think that the liberal policies of Pelosi and Reid and Obama, heck, a boxer and a Brown, are going to be able to turn this around and get the job done? They act like they're permanent residents of some unicorn ranch in fantasy land. If they really think that they're going to be able to turn it around with the liberal policies that they want to continue, and Pixie does. That's right. Another thing about California, you guys aren't afraid to call it like you see it, to help me out here interjecting all these wonderful sound bites that I'm going to start writing them down on the palm of my hand. I'm going to use them later on. What? Next time you hear me, use the term pixie ducks, but just you know where it came from. But California needs strong, principled leaders. You need leaders to bring life back to this state and bring life back to the investing community. And there is great life in California. As I say, there is the workforce that is here. There is the innovation, the natural resources. I want you all to get to yell Eureka in this golden state of opportunity. You deserve it. You deserve better than what you've been given. Eureka! Bring down taxes for one, and just again engage in some common sense to bring down taxes and get rid of the regulations that are strangling the entrepreneurship that should be here, and those things that thwart the allowance of the boldness that had made California the technology center of the world. Right now, somewhere in California is the next great entrepreneur. He or she, they're tinkering in their garage, and they're in a lab somewhere with that next great technology breakthrough, just waiting to help change our world for the better. I am confident that those persons are here in California. California needs a government to stop stifling the creativity, though, and the determination that once made the state synonymous with extraordinary economic growth. California used to be the envy of all the other states. Look at what was going on here. other states saying, man, what are they doing there? We need to emulate those policies in California to allow that technology growth, the economic roar that can heat really an economic engine throughout our entire nation. A government here needs to stop burdening layer after layer of rules and regulations on the backs of small businesses and stop taxing people to death. Really, a government that would stop taxing people to death. Literally, we need that. Did you know that the liberal agenda that's in the works right now, it wants to tax us even after we're dead? And when the Bush tax cuts expire in 3 months, the federal estate tax is zooming back up to 55%. I don't know if people are even aware of what's coming down the pike here in a very short order, taxes like that increasing. And I know you can't take it with you, but I was kind of hoping that my kids could anyway. We're working really, really hard for our kids, and why should government get that chunk of what it is that we're working and producing in order to help take care of the next generation? Buried under an avalanche of taxes. One of the 10 highest tax burdens in the country is right here. And you know, it's only going to get worse under the same leadership and the same liberal agenda. So here again, we have a choice and we get to take it back. If we want to take it back, we get to take it back. That's the beauty of our democracy. We get to vote in new leaders. We get to fire those who have made the mistakes and have been so less than discerning when it comes to the decisions that have to be made to get our economy roaring back to life. We can fire them and hire people with servants' hearts who will listen to the will of the people, understand how to run a business, and understand what it is that government needs to do or not do in order to allow the private sector to grow and to thrive again. This January, the rest of Obama's mind-blowing tax increases will begin to hit all sectors of the American economy. Tax increases on income and capital gains and dividends and healthcare taxes, child tax credits, the marriage penalty, the list goes on. Everything's going to change in just a couple of months. Now, balancing budgets, it isn't easy, and I know, and as Victor introduced me, he pointed out that I've had to do it, but it's not easy. You do have to make tough choices, and you don't make a lot of friends in the legislature when you cut their earmarks and you veto excessive spending and government overreach. But it's time. We have to do this for America's solvency, for our future's sake. We have to make the tough decisions. And we have to get back to allowing the little guy that Reagan spoke of. Let that little guy come first. First in California, first in the country, ahead of special interests, ahead of political cronies, ahead of, you know, the big union bosses that are willing to bankrupt America for their power. And when I talk about these unions, I have great respect for our brothers and sisters within the unions who are just really having a desire to provide well for their families and have benefits for their families. It's the union bosses who have so abused their power in order just to hold on to power. One, they're making unions look bad, these union bosses. And we need to keep that in mind when we have our debates and discussions about what's going on with the unions. But some of these bosses, man, I'll say it right now, they are thugs, and they are not looking out for their members' best interests, but too often for their own power struggle within, internally, and they're making that manifest by being extremely, I think, abusive of the power that their membership has provided them. So you remember the old line, lead, follow, or get out of the way. Well, Washington isn't leading us anywhere but towards that brink there, right? Towards the edge of the cliff. Obama and Boxer and Pelosi and Reid, they won't follow what it is that the American people are telling them to do, and trillions in deficit spending and Obamacare are proof of that. So let's respectfully suggest that they get out of the way. Okay? It needs to start in California, in the Central Valley, for instance. How about putting the welfare of thousands thousands of hardworking Californians ahead of a 2-inch fish. Where I come from, we call that bait. And people and families and jobs are more important than bait. And there I said it. Now PETA and everybody else are going to come after me. I can stand in line. But some faceless bureaucrat in DC decided that this 2-inch fish was more important than the people who've worked this land for generations and have fed our nation with their crops. Now they've lost their farms and their crops and their livelihood because of a government-imposed drought on you all. Shutting off water supplies to the people, to the farms, to the agriculture lands that are needed. No, California deserves better than that, and a new positive direction must be undertaken, and it can start here in California. What a dramatic shift. It's just going to wake up the entire nation when we do see that shift here starting in California. Now consider solutions. We've talked about a lot of problems, and you all know as well, better than I do, what the localized problems are caused by government overreach. Consider solutions though. In 1980, in the midst of a terrible recession, voters chose that new positive direction that we talk about that is so needed here today. They chose a new positive leader with a different vision for America.